Hi, Aline, it's Kasia. Uh, Thank you for getting the life purpose reading from me and letting me know about your situation. And thanks for the feedback on the Chiron reading as well. It was lovely to read. Because Chiron reading, it's, like a big part of the life purpose reading as well, and you already had that reading, I thought rather than, repeating myself, I'm going to add a little bit more info about this big transit that's going on of Pluto and Saturn and South Node. Collectively, it's really important, but also it's quite important for us personally, where it manifests and what's happening, if it aspects anything in our chart. This reading will be similar build to the other reading. It is going to be me talking to you with the chart, and I will be mentioning a few more things about work, about your potential blockages. Chiron also plays a big part in our limitations we put on ourselves when it comes to our vocation, and because your Chiron is in the 12th house, that's very spiritual house. So often when Chiron lands, also shows a potential of work we have to do, or we can do, or we have the gift of healing in that particular area. So for you, it would be just some spirituality through the body. And it's in the house where, traditionally 12th house was the house of institutions like hospitals, like churches, cloisters, where you withdraw from all that life outside and focus on evolution or healing. And it's a deeply subconscious house. And I think for you that work with the body and bringing that spirit to the earth will be very important. I also going to do the Aura Soma card for you. It's like a birth vibration card and colors. So I'm going to share that when I do the card reading. But in the astrology chart, I'm going to definitely speak about the lessons, which I also mentioned a lot of them when I was doing your Chiron reading, just because your Chiron was so much involved in all these other planets. But I'm going to focus more on that 6th house, on your ascendant, on your moon, on your vocational point, and on the North Node, on your karmic lesson, and also where you come from and what you're developing, and where you're stretching your comfort zones this lifetime, because it's quite important to connect with this particular energy, and because it gives you that sense of I'm on the right path. I'm not kind of stuck in what I know only, but I'm going for what I'm passionate about. So that's going to be this. And then I'm going to change the camera again and do also the reading, do the tarot reading for you, where you're at, what the cards wants to show us, and so on. So we'll see what's happening for you now. So let's start with the 3 main points that I usually mention during these readings. It's the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. So the sun is like our battery, it's our spirit, it's our soul, it's our mind, it's however you call it. It's this sense of self that we have this lifetime, but also our big lesson that we are learning, and that we, because we all are kind of, when I think of life purpose, the only life purpose we really have is to truly live our potential and just fully accept who we are with our limitations, with our imperfections. And the sooner we start our self-love from where we are in the particular moment, and we can do it every day, that's where that true healing starts happening. Because true healing and true life purpose doesn't really mean that we never feel suffering, that we always sure what we want to do. It's just the sense of really having our own back and really being connected and integrated in that self-love and the self-support. And, in the end, you are the only and the most important person in your life. And we all learn to give ourselves that self-love. despite the wounding that we used to maybe, accumulate through this birth. So your sun is in Sagittarius. Hello, Sagittarian sister. And as I mentioned in the previous reading, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in the 6th house. So the sun is in the 6th house, very close to Neptune and very close to Mercury. Neptune on the sun, I've got the same combination. Actually, Neptune rules Pisces usually, and Pisces is the mystic of the zodiac, also a poet of the zodiac, artist of the zodiac. So having Neptune very close to one's sun really softens the flames, because sun is yang, it's active. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's like shooting the arrow, being really on the go, on the mission. When you are on the mission, when you feel like you doing something that you believe in, this is going to be very enriching for your spirit. With Neptune on the sun, your sun is being a little bit more influenced by this very spiritual, yet again, energy. And often people with this Sun Neptune conjunction do have amazing intuition when they not afraid, or when they claim that intuition and this intuitive power and use it, especially in your case in your work, because it's placed all in the work house. You really can not only have this amazing Sagittarian higher mind that it's, constantly interested in what's beyond what's visible, and you will have a drive to develop yourself very much psychologically, very much spiritually, and to use it in your work. Neptune also, Neptune and Sun, both. Sun loves boundaries, and Sun loves to shine, obviously, when you just use the simple analogy, sun, shine. So it's how do you like to shine? And you will shine when you can love your work, when you can connect to and really truly believe in what you're doing. Sagittarius feel inspired only when they do things they really like or enjoy, or even if they're hard and difficult, if they believe in those things, that's when our spirit shines. With this Neptune there, very close to the sun, a person usually with this Neptune connection, often there is a lesson for people like this, Neptune Sun people, to learn about healthy boundaries, because Neptune dissolves boundaries. So sometimes because of the sensitivity, and you're in like collective, you are in tune in collective sense as well. You might find that your sun, so yourself, you take on often other people's energies, other people's problems, and you might go out of your way to help other people. And this Neptune is connected to 2 archetypes, to the victim and to the rescuer. And both of them, I would advise you to sit down with yourself and check with yourself, how well do you do victim archetype? We all have victim archetype. So when are you being a victim? When do you allow other people to take advantage of your energy? When are you taking responsibility for other people's stuff? Asked or not asked, when maybe you're going out of your way to help someone, and then you find yourself that you are yourself so tired, or that you run on nervous energy, and then you resent those people that you make appointments with or want to hang out with. Sometimes it doesn't really necessarily has to be help, but that kind of sense of wanting to be with others, and then just taking on too much. So with Neptune, the lesson always close to the sun is to protect your battery. And Neptune needs times out. Neptune rules that 12th house where your Chiron sits. That's when you need time out to heal your wounds, to give yourself time and permission to really figure out what's truly yours and what's not. And you can do it only in silence, and when you truly give yourself some withdrawal times. Because Sun in Sagittarius, it's Gregorius house. It's ruled by Zeus, it's ruled by Jupiter. It's it's, no worries, I can do it, I'm fine, optimistic, adventure loving, a very kind of a beautiful energy to have around. Sagittarians are usually quite liked by others because we're easygoing, you kind of have probably good sense of humor, and you have the sense of, it's going to be fine, it's this, let's go and check it out and see what's happening. So that kind of free-spiritedness and that interest in other worlds and philosophy, in religions, in teaching in general, you will be very driven by those features. Also, when we have Neptune and Sun in close conjunction like you have, I think you will be also very intuitive, as I said, and Neptune excels in healing arts. So not only you have this full house of healing and work packed with planets, that is an indication that you will have healing abilities, or that you will be very interested in healing arts. That doesn't have to be necessarily hands-on healing, but you might be loving astrology, loving readings, loving doing things, creative things for others, loving psychology and being a counselor, or a tarot reader, or an astrologer, or energy healer. I think you do have a lot of indication and a lot of potential to develop this type of work. Not only do you have these 3 planets in Sagittarius here, but also in the 6th house you have Venus and Uranus in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio is great and at creating deep connection with others. It searches for intimate relationships. It's not afraid to go, down the dark hole to figure out what really drives you. You will have also interest in spiritual evolution and personal development. And that Scorpio planets, they love psychology and they want to understand why emotions are so overwhelming sometimes, why emotions can drive us, and what emotions want to show. So you will be, I think, very in tune with a lot of people subconsciously as well. And that shows me that the interest in psychology would also be kind of hinted by that spiritual twist, which comes from your Chiron and comes from all the Sagittarian planets. But not only that, your vocational point is in Aquarius, and your moon is in Aquarius in Sagittarian house. So that's all kind of, I know for you maybe it's just like, what is she talking about? But it's all connected, and it all points towards this amazing ability of your intuitive spiritual work that you can do, that is charged collectively. You like being the bridge for the collective healing as well. And your moon in Aquarius is in the 9th house. So the moon is our emotional side. Moon in air sign in Aquarius, this is like fixed air, so you can imagine like the wind blowing just one way. But moon in an air sign, it's not very comfortable, because moon loves to be in water signs. In air, we often tend to intellectualize our emotions. So sometimes with moon in Aquarius, my advice to people is to really, especially when you have that wounded Chiron around the body also, and they are in touch with one another. Often moon Chiron aspects, they do indicate problems with falling pregnant, or lost pregnancies. That's what you just went through. So I think on the emotional level, if you want to help yourself to deal with certain maybe residue energy that you might be blocking you from falling pregnant, it might be working out what emotions actually sit in your body, because your moon likes to intellectualize things and likes to detach yourself from emotions. It's an Aquarian moon, so you also have right to do it. But because your Chiron, your wounding is in the body and value, self-value sign and feeling secure sign, I think going back to the place when you felt really secure, or where that security didn't exist for you, it will be worth to investigate, because maybe your body feels unsafe to carry a child, and that might be connected to some time, maybe when you were a child yourself, or maybe when your mother was pregnant. So, sometimes it's not even our stuff, and because you're so sensitive, you might even pick up or carry a lineage through. You might check also your lineage further down, but there might be this feeling of where does your safety come from, and how can you, through spiritual practice in your sense, because this Chiron is in the 12th house, really reconnect to the safety that your body can carry you, and that you can give yourself that safety, and that you understand from the broader perspective, because that's the gift of that beautiful moon in Aquarius, that there is a bigger picture as well. And sometimes we might not have children, sometimes we might just have a different purpose for this life. And for you, you have quite a few planets in the 5th house, including Jupiter, including Pluto. Jupiter is the expansive planet, Saturn is the constricting planet, and Pluto is the transformative planet. And I think for you, a lot will be depending on how safe you feel in the relationship, of how exciting in a way, and how transformative the relationship can be for you. And as I said, that kind of feeling safe in your body, I would put a lot of attention there, because the moon in Aquarius is quite detached. Moon in Aquarius is quite idealistic, it's quite ideological, it's very just, it wants fairness for everybody, it wants equality, it wants the new earth. It's fair in the relationship, it wants to be just. It's truthful, it doesn't like to bullshit, it's quite stable moon, because it's a fixed air. But at the same time, it's sometimes difficult for that moon to feel safe, to feel emotions, because it's not in its strongest point to be emotional. And I think sometimes finding that safe spot for you to feel the emotions in the body, express that grief that you might be going through right now, allowing yourself to really feel it in the safety of your own body, first of all, but also, containing, having a container where you can easily cry or move your body. Sometimes that movement medicine is very beautiful, when you can dance it out or go for dynamic meditation or stuff like this. It's an interesting aspect of this moon. But also in your the positioning on that moon tells me that they work nicely with your sun, and with all these planets here in the 6th house, especially also with your Mercury. And it's that moon shows me that you will have great interest in foreign cultures, that you maybe fall in love with a foreign guy, maybe you will move abroad, or raise your children abroad, or find some love, find love in doing something, speaking foreign languages, or embracing working with immigrants, or maybe doing something, wanting to write a book about eclectic, or inventing a new way to heal people. It's a few different options, but that moon likes not to be limited. So emotionally, you will need in relationships quite a lot of freedom. You will need to have your independence. You will need a partner that won't limit you just to be a house and a wife and a mama. And I think by looking at your chart also, you have a lot of indication that that kind of high priestessy feel, it's there. You don't have so much of the mama pointers here. Sometimes when I see people having a lot of planets in Cancer or in the 4th house, I know that miscarriage, it's a horrible thing to go through, and it's like death process, so it's really hard to deal with. But I think it's even harder for those people who have a lot of this, it's like this personal kind of hooks that just show me that, wow, this person would just, thrive doing it. For you, I think all the pointers in the charts show me that you would thrive through your work. You would thrive through connecting to wider spectrum of people. Your family doesn't need to be just that little family. Your family can be very broad. You'd be great in doing work through internet or travels. You would be perfect doing some form of, travel or long distance even healings, because you have quite a lot of detached energy and quite a lot of spiritual energy, but it's anchored from past lives even in your energy field. Your ascendant is in Gemini. An ascendant is like the first light, the first impression that you make on people. It's what sign was on ecliptic when, there was sunrise on the day you were born, and Gemini was on the ecliptic when you were born. And this is like the first impression we make on people, our persona, our mask sometimes we put out when people meet us. So not only you have a lot of fire and air in your chart, Gemini is the mutable air. You could be, on the first impression, you could be a chatterbox, you could be like the social butterfly. I think you will be great in making contact with people, in networking with others. You would be great in studies. You will be interested in learning, in really teaching people, in finding information, doing research. I'm pretty sure by now you read everything about miscarriages, everything about falling pregnant. It's just this type of energy that it's curious, it wants to know, it wants to pay attention, and also it wants to learn and share information. So Gemini, it's also one of these lessons that you might be learning a lot as well about communicating. And for you, because your moon is in this air sign as well, also how can you communicate what you feel? Because that might be not easy for you. Again, you might tend to intellectualize things and want to understand everything. Sometimes miscarriage or anything like that might not have anything to do with you, in a sense, like, oh, I could have done that better, or we always want to know, why did it happen to me, what did I do wrong, or how can I do better. Sometimes it's really not up to us. I don't know if you've ever listened to Caroline Myers, and she speaks and makes very often point out of it that sometimes it's just not your fault, in a sense that you couldn't have done anything better or worse. It's just happened the way it happened for a reason, but it couldn't have happened any other way, So who knows? Then, I can't really sit here and say, oh, listen, yes, you don't have to be a mama and you'll be happy, because that's not what you want to hear. But I can say that based on your chart, you might feel that very strong pull to mothering right now and putting a value on yourself by being a mom, because you also have this progressed moon, that's evolutionary moon, going through Cancer right now and in the house of self-value. So I think it's valuable for you right now. It's important. And you also, at this age, when it's like you feel like it's the last call, you also feel the biological clock going for you. So it's quite emotional, I can imagine. And you're still young enough to, give it a go whenever you just give it a try. If it's something you really want, you go for it. You try different ways. And I think the more you find the safety and security in your body, and maybe do some past life regression also, because it might be interesting to see where this Chiron in the body gets rooted, what truly caused it, and moving your body. And kind of sometimes you have this body memory, and intellectually, which your moon loves, your ascendant loves, your sun also will love it. Intellectually you might go, okay, I kind of understand everything, but it can be cellular memory that you might need to release to fully kind of open up to the possibility that your body is safe enough to carry the light of the new child. So look into it, because I think that might help you to fall pregnant and to allow yourself to carry the child. But also, on the other hand, if that never happens to you, I think you will be just fine. And I can say it with this not certainty, but in your chart, it's just a huge emphasis on the collective work that you can do and for the good of the bigger family. So I see how you sit with it, but I think you're going to be fine one way or another. So moon in Aquarius, air sign, straight, like fixed air. Ascendant in Gemini, this curiosity, social butterfly, communicative. You can probably connect people from different parts of the world. With that moon in Aquarius, you might also feel a little bit like misunderstood at times, especially through this Chiron conjunction. You might feel like, not conjunction, but the square. You might feel that people don't understand you, or that you feel strange, that your feelings are strange out there. But I think with Aquarian moon, often it's really important to allow yourself also a lot of healing on energetic level, because it's the airy energetic sign. So if you do sound healing, if you go for, as I said, past life regressions, or any form of energy healing, crystal healing, that's something which I think you would love to. And because it's in this 9th house of philosophy, of occult, of travels, of foreign cultures, you also I think will be drawn to maybe mixing things from different cultures, and finding solace and finding passion in being able to then serve others, or bring these healings also to wider society. And as I said, moon as a relationship, also as a mother. So maybe your mother wasn't very feely touchy, and that's maybe where this Chiron kind of got this sense of like, I don't know if I'm feeling safe, because maybe your mom gave you a lot of intellectual support, but not enough of this healthy bodily touch type of thing. And deep down, there might be still this fear in your body that it can't carry, it's not safe enough to carry the new life. So maybe see if you can aspect or access this somehow. I'm not a therapist, so you can go to therapy to check this out if that resonates with you. But I see this connection here between the Chiron and the moon, and that often is some form of mother wounding. And actually right now you can also check mother wounding just in general and see how you feel with it. Because that's a big work I think each of us daughters has to do anyway, even if our mothers were, amazing. So I want to speak a little bit more about this North Node in Leo, which is in your 3rd house, and that South Node in Aquarius, that it's very close to your moon. And this is interesting that the South Node and moon, they both point to a very kind of strong drive to the past incarnations. South Node in general speaks about what we were often doing in the past. Because it's in Aquarius and because it's close to the moon, you really could have been a priestess in the past lives already. 9th house, you could have been a spiritual teacher, you could have been a priestess, you could have been a scientist that invented something unusual, maybe got, destroyed for it, who knows, who was way ahead of time. It's definitely an energy where you were working for the wider collective, and you still carry this lifetime, but your North Node, so something that you also, learning more, that you attuning yourself to, is Leo. It's much more personal. So in some way you are coming from this very wide, and your moon is there, so you're also feeling this, attuned to the collective feelings, but you are being asked to learn to listen to your own emotions a little bit more, to your own desires, not always have this collective vision. I mean, you will have this collectivity in mind because it's like all these pointers are there, but also you have to really work a lot on finding your own heart, work with your heart chakra, awaken this Leo energy. And Leo is all about, I like to be seen, I like to feel good in my body, I want to be the queen of my universe, I want to look good, I want to shine, I want to be expressive, and I want to be creative. Leo loves to work one-on-one. Leo is about creativity and about heart chakra, and this Leo point is in your third house of expression again. Sagittarius loves and is connected often to publishing, to writing, to doing creative work, but often it's editing, publishing companies, you know. So I'm thinking Aquarius also is great in writing. Maybe you have talents in writing. Leo is creative. It's expression of any form, that you are being asked to be creative. You're being asked to share, shine your light, you know, like Leo, breast forward, shine your light in the communication house. So I'm not sure what you do for a living, but it might be something that you feel you have, you know, like talent for, but maybe you think it's nothing great. Sometimes when we have talents, we don't really value those talents. We like, everybody can do it. Well, sometimes not really. So you're really stretching from that very impersonal into that, what do I really desire? Because when you go for your truly desire, your Sagittarius will be always inspired, your sun will be inspired. And I think there is this creative, spiritual part to your work that it's very important, and this collective one, but the collective can't take over. It has to come through your pure passion for what you love to do. And then the collective will get ignited like that. So let's just speak about that Leo North Node. So once again, North Node and South Node, these are 2 points. It's like a nodal axis, it's called. And it's a point, so they in opposition. This one is not marked, but it's closer here to your moon. South Node being like the point, like dragon's tail, so something where you're coming from, and North Node being like dragon's head, so where you're looking at right now, what energy you want to realign with a little bit more. South Node also shows what talents you bring into this life, what you know how to do, what you instinctively do because you have been working on it in the previous incarnations. North Node is something where you're stretching your comfort zones, what you're embracing a little bit more, and what you probably feel drawn to, but maybe a little bit shy, or, you know, it's just something that will be of interest. So with Leo North Node, and your, as I said, your North Node is in the house of communication, in the house of siblings, in the house of teaching, and in the house of expressing yourself through spoken words, through language. Leo North Node people are strengthening their self-confidence. So in the past incarnations, in that Aquarian 9th house, you probably, your personal kind of wishes, your individuality might have been a little bit discounted for the sake of the larger whole, of the larger good, of the larger ideal. As I said, you might have been a priestess, and whatever, you know, if you had personal feelings or not, it didn't matter, because you had a job to do for the collective. So you know how to do it well this lifetime, that kind of sense of collective responsibility. And because your moon is very close to that South Node, you also feel this emotionally, you know, you feel this responsibility emotionally. You can tune in to this collective sense. You will know how the group feels when you with the group of people. You will pick up stuff that other people might not even be aware of. So in some way you were maybe discouraged to develop strong will, strong personal will. But this lifetime, you go into that Leo energy, and it's more about personal will and really tuning into your personal emotions, taking that Chiron's healing, listening to your body, knowing where the spiritual stuff sits in your body. How is this personal for you? How can you make it personal? And through making it personal, the interpersonal will happen. So this path is the individual effort for you. You've got to start really from just yourself. And then that sense of collective responsibility that you carry will happen organically for you. But if you just go instinctively for always thinking about the wider sense, it might be harder for you, first of all, do your job properly, because you might get bored, or you might not be doing the right job, and you really have to do something that like gives you inspiration, gives you passion, because otherwise, the Sagittarian sun will just get bored. Aquarian moon is responsible, but still, it wants to be empowered and inspired. So find a job that really makes you believe that it's worth doing. It's worth doing for you, that you value, and your body feels good about it, because it's important for you to constantly go back to the body, include that Chiron wounding. Leo North Node people are also challenged with building a distinct ego. So again, due to many past incarnations going with the flow, or being immersed in the society or in the community, maybe commune, maybe a spiritual community, maybe being abroad with other people, society, religion, family. You might have been, as I said, a priestess or teacher, or somebody who were like you were a part of something larger. So you kind of lost contact with your personal ego. And Leo, this lifetime, really wants you to feel your own ego, your own desires, your own drive. Leo rules the heart. I think everything comes down to the heart. So really opening up to your heart chakra, like working with that amazing sense of this electromagnetic energy from the heart. What makes your heart happy? What inspires you? What drives you? What gives you pleasure? You've got to do that, and you've got to express it. The more you connect with it and express it, because it's in the third house of communication, sharing ideas. You have Gemini sun. It's just, it's really all connected in your case. It's very important that you actually learning to take a stronger stand and to view other people as children as well, to respond to different behaviors of others, setting up limits, because in the beginning you might have been very accommodating, or there might have been rules that weren't yours, what we were following. This lifetime you're setting up your own rules, and sometimes it might be a little bit difficult, because you might feel guilty for setting those rules, your personal kind of ego. Leo North Node people are also learning to be who they really are. And again, Sagittarius energy with Neptune, that's very kind of, this Neptune makes it a little bit less personal. You've got this MC in Aquarius, which is very scientific in some way. It's a very intellectual sign. It used to be ruled by Saturn. It's quite responsible, even though it's air. It's not that changeable. It can be stubborn, but also it's very, for example, they say that Aquarius energy like this make great astrologers, makes great readers, because it's great overview of things. You won't be too narrow, it gives you this detached view and this very spiritual kind of drive, and that social collective feel. So you have the gift to be a great reader, for example. You have a great gift to be a good therapist, or someone who writes also books. Maybe you'll be a famous writer, mate. But that spiritual element, it's everywhere in your chart, everywhere. So in past incarnations, again, you were spending time and you were maybe involved also very much. You believed in it because your moon is so close in group environments. And that probably caused you, you know, to develop this great sensitivity to group opinions, to opinions of other people. You were trained probably in the past life to do it. So this time it's like you just have this ability. What you're learning is to really listen to your own opinion and value your own opinion, and mostly through your body, which is wounded. So I think you were very, in past lives, you might have been very disconnected from the body. It might have been very spiritual on that very high level, when maybe body was bad, or maybe body didn't matter, or body was sinful, or whatever, you know. So I think this lifetime you really are being asked to include the body, include the passion, include through the heart and through the body work. So you're learning to actually like activate your individualism, activate your drive to be expressive, to create, to dress the way you want, to really kind of make sure you underline your individual creativity and express it, because it's in the house of expression. You also are learning to create your own destiny. Again, in past lives, you were very involved with the destiny of the collective group. And this lifetime, doing it through your work, you can still do it, but you are really being asked to visualize what drives you first. So you're learning to use your intelligence and you know, the personal power that you have with all this fire and air, amazing combination, to create, you know, happiness for yourself. Leo is work with inner child. Leo loves to be happy, and because your North Node also is in contact, like a friction line with that Chiron, again, do some work on your inner child, on that expression of allowing yourself to be happy with who you are, allowing yourself to really go for it, you know, like dress the way you want, say whatever you want, write stuff, paint, because that also will free it up from your body, maybe that memory that you always have to be a good girl or behaved a certain way, or we don't do it this way, or maybe your parents were amazing, but maybe they were very intellectual and they were just saying, oh, don't be, you know, like this crazy girl, like always have your facts and stuff. But well, that kind of like that's a bit a wounded child thing. So see if you can do any inner child work as well. Leo is very happy sign, and you're learning to readjust to this energy, realign with that energy. And I think using creativity in your work, if it's through sharing, Leo loves to work one-on-one as well, and Sagittarius, you know, energy in that work, loves to move, likes to be excited, likes to be inspired. It also loves esoteric, you know, all this kind of juicy spiritual stuff. Your moon in Aquarius also loves facts and being intellectual about stuff, so you won't be just like believe for nothing, but use this intellect to like you will understand the collective. This Aquarius here, it's really very important for the collective understanding. And again, Aquarius on MCs very often speaks of great astrologers or great readers, great people who can help other people to see a wider perspective, and a good reader can do it. So it can take you of the personal little drama hole that you're in and pull you outside and show you bigger picture, and you've got talent to do it. And I think you are amazing actually looking at your chart in doing it. So you are also learning to take risks, to follow your heart. As I said, heart chakra work, really a lot of ancestral work in opening the heart chakra, a lot of work when you can do the inner child work, mother work, allow yourself to be playful, don't take everything seriously. I know that, you know, it's hard to say, don't take your miscarriage seriously. Of course, you're going to take it seriously, but try to give yourself permission to feel whatever you need to feel. If it's pain, just let it feel. Because I think you might have this sense of like, I'm going to die if I let myself feel it. But you are not going to die. You're going to need to feel it and take risks to feel it, because that's also going to bring you release, and it's going to bring you happiness, and it's going to bring you a joy of allowing yourself to feel it. Because I think this Chiron in Taurus might be like, I'm afraid to feel it. I don't know if I allow myself if to feel myself like this, everything fully, my body won't take it. But I think that's the wounding, and the healing comes from trusting your body to take it. Maybe create a space safe container when you can do it. Maybe you will know when to do it. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but the body needs to be involved in this, and I think it's going to bring great healing. Also, this Leo North Node, it's really big on creativity. So sometimes it's hard to express stuff through words, but Leo is a great actor. You know, they always like, oh, look at me. So you can maybe do like an acting class, or Hellinger's, you know, that when you put yourself into the different positions, it's expression in all the forms possible. And I think to connect to this point, taking the risk to follow your heart, like what brings you passion? You want to be a reader? Do this right now. You want to write a book? Start doing it today. It might not be, you know, bestseller till 5 years later, but the same act of doing it will really allow you to release a lot of pressure. And I think trust yourself a little bit more, open up. So following your heart, it's really, you know, it's really important. And with this Leo North Node, that creative side, that heart chakra energy is something that I would really advise you to look into. And there's this beautiful teacher, Naisha Azian, and she does this meditation when you connect from your sacral chakra down to the earth. You kind of imagine that you connect to the center of the earth, you know, the lava, that like core of the earth. And then you bring energy from the earth up to the sacral, and then up to your heart. And then you bring energy from the cosmos down to your heart. Then you pull it down to the earth, and from the earth through your heart up to the cosmos. And in the end, the whole meditation belongs on coming of these two energies from the bottom and top, and connecting them in the heart, and expanding that from the heart around you, strengthening your electromagnetic field of your own body, your own energy field. And it's a beautiful meditation. I will actually send you the link to her website. Maybe you can see, I don't know if it's paid or if it's for free, I can't remember anymore, but you can maybe do it, because it's a very good strengthening meditation for the body and for the mind, and for your electromagnetic field in general. So if I was to just finish off, I wanted to say that this Pluto Saturn conjunction, that collectively Pluto is the destroyer. It likes to dissolve things. It likes to transmute things. Pluto would be connected to Lilith, or Pluto would be connected to Kali or to Tower energy, when it just growls and really transforms from the bottom up. It's not sudden, but it really takes, you know, it won't stop until it's done. And Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn, on the other hand, likes to concretize things. It has these rings around it, so it's afraid of losing control. But it also is a lesson of responsibility and taking responsibility. And for you, these two planets are in the 8th house. And 8th house is the house of death. It's house of sex. It's house of occult and hidden stuff. And it's a house of other people's resources. So in some way, Pluto and Saturn, they both teach empowerment, whatever happens during these transits. And this transit is going to go to the end of 2020, so it's another year and a half that we collectively go through it. And for you, as I said, it's really strengthening your power in relationship. It's taking responsibility for your stuff, and it's learning to really follow your dreams. Capricorn is a very beautiful kind of, again, spiritual sign. Often, Jesus was a Capricorn. A lot of gurus were Capricorns. And it's of climbing your own mountain and really allowing yourself to climb your own mountain. What do you want to do, Aline? Follow that right now, because this is going to give you power. And if you're afraid to destroy something, or if things die, like your child died, that sometimes might be this bigger purpose also for you to. Pluto teaches us that we have no control about a lot of things, really. The only thing we can control is like how we work with that lack of control, and that everything shifts and changes. So it shows now that, like, whatever you do now, faced with horrible loss, that's where your big human, through big H, can appear. What you do with the loss, how can you transform, how can you empower yourself through your loss? You kind of owe it to your child. Like, nobody who dies wants to see the people left behind crumble and die too. They want us to be strong, they want us to carry on living, and they want us to feel empowered in some way. And I think in one way or another, you also finding your huge power. You're finding your power, you're finding a sense of your inner strength that you maybe didn't even know that you have. And you might be dealing with some losses as well, but also some gains. There might be financial gains, there might be financial losses. It's a house of other people's resources. And I think through claiming your power, you can also help other people find their own power. And maybe it is time for you to really connect to the source of what drives you, what makes you happy, what makes your heart feel alive, and start expressing it in your life, because that's very important. So when it comes to it's actually not it's not really aspecting anything. I mean, it's not really aspecting this conjunction. It's not really aspecting anything in your chart in a sense of like opposition or square. So it's mostly about really looking at your own power, at hidden things that need to be transformed. Often 8th house is also about past lives and long-term limitations and long-term held beliefs that keep us away from our power. So you might be going through, maybe, like if you go through a miscarriage, if you go through death, you also go through rebirth at some point. So you may be also letting go of certain things. You might be letting go of the idea of being a mother as well, as much as hard as it is. I went through it as well, because I couldn't have children. I wanted to have children too. And at some point I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to have children, and I have to find my way in the world to be a mother in other ways, And as I said, in your chart, you will have other ways to be a mother as well. And I'm not saying that you're not going to have children, or fingers crossed you're going to have children. This was the first time, so maybe next time will be it. But if not, that I think you still will be very happy. So I'm fingers crossed for babies. But if not, I think however your chart is built, you will find happiness nevertheless, But right now you're finding that power in yourself of like finding out what truly drives you. Where do you get frustrated? What's hidden? Connecting to the rage within, connecting to the dark emotions, and not being afraid to transform them through the body, not being afraid to go into that sense of spiritual kind of darkness even, because that will give you strength. And Pluto often, and this Saturn, this conjunction, it also teaches you to make art of your fears. Whatever is your biggest fear right now, if you embrace it, if you make art of it, photography, painting, drawing, writing, that will help you to process it, and it will help you to deal and empower yourself through this process. And when it comes to jobs, I really can't stress higher enough And even though you are having right now also Neptune square your Sun, so Neptune transiting Neptune is right now, where are you, Neptune? Neptune is here right now. It's just like on the top of the chart, and it's squaring your Sun, because Neptune is on 18 degrees Pisces and the Sun is 19 degrees Sagittarius. So for the next maybe year, you will have Neptune square Sun, and that's, you might feel like you don't know what's going on. You might feel like you're not quite sure where you want to go, what you feel, where you end, where do you begin. And I think also with this Pluto and Saturn going through the 8th, you're really finding a way to empower who you are. And I think with Neptune, it's interesting that Neptune dissolves boundaries. You might find lower self-esteem. You might find that you have lower energy in general. You might find that you fall, like get cold easier than before, because this Neptune like weakens the Sun a little bit. But at the same time, Neptune is a very spiritual planet. So also it kind of speaks to you on the sense like, watch out for the outer sign, watch out for your dreams, watch out for signs in general, because there are like uploads happening for you right now as well, and that will give you a sense of purpose. But it's not that kind of they're not the answers that are so clear straight away. So don't be despondent, don't be discouraged. Learn to be patient to read those signs, but don't also like, oh, it's just, it's just a feather or something. Like, just stay open to spiritual awakenings, because you are going through one right now. And it's important to take time out, ground your energy, to really don't get too frustrated when you feel sometimes confused, because during the midlife crisis, you start your midlife crisis as well. So I think, it's slowly maybe another 5 years, but because your Sun is so close to your Neptune, you're kind of connected. It's connected. So take time to see the signs and listen to your intuition, listen to your dreams. It's very important. So I hope that makes sense. And I would like to now do this Aura-Soma card for you. So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to pull out the card to show you. So I hope I haven't done it for you. I kind of rewatched like briefly the Chiron reading, because I didn't want to repeat myself, but I didn't see it there, but maybe I missed it. Anyway, like, this is the card of like vibration frequency of your birthday. So when I added your digits of your birth, it comes to 23. So you are 5. But we stick to the double digit in Aura-Soma, and this is a King of Wands. And here we have this fire energy of Sagittarius, of Leo, and of Aries. The King is, the ruler of his element, and the colors that came up are this beautiful pink, little bit pinker on top and pale pink on the bottom. Pink in Aura-Soma has to do with the base chakra as well. And base chakra has to do with security, right? With our sense of belonging, where we belong, where you belong spiritually as well. I think figuring it out for yourself, which is happening also right now with this Neptune squaring your Sun, that's also a big initiation at what do you believe, how can you express that, and how can you use it in your work. And so with this card, in the little booklet, it says that this bottle is called Rose, Pink, and Pink, and it's called Love and Light. And it's about compassion and self-acceptance. And the more we find the compassion in the process of seeing ourselves, the more we can accept of ourselves. So it's a beautiful work with inner child as well, with this Leo expressive energy. That's amazing, all the talents and this fire, inspirational, expressive energy that you carry, and also this sense of this collective responsibility that you also have, and this sense of this Aquarian quirkiness, that new visionary, that kind of prophetic abilities, and how can you use it to feel empowered but also be of service to others? Because the sixth house, which is full in your chart, it's a house of service. And how can you serve others with and at the same time be happy and be expressive and follow your personal joy? Because if you just focus on serving others without really feeling that what you do is like making you happy at the same time, that north node is not going to be excited, you know. You really this like are being called to connect very strongly to this more personal side of your creative expression this lifetime. So with this particular energy, I've got this book which is called Aura Soma, Healing Through Color, Plant and Crystal Energy. And this bottle 23, you can purchase it. I'm not affiliated with them. I should be, because I use it in every reading. I'm like, you can get the bottle. But as I said, it was called Love and Light. And main theme is regaining self-love. And that self-love is your Chiron in Taurus, which was wounded maybe through very cold upbringing, maybe through not being able to connect or accept your body or accept what you spiritually believe, or this kind of discord between the intellect and the spirituality and the trust and intuition. So this is one of the lessons, regaining the self-love. Really go for this heart chakra work. So personal positive personality aspects that you may develop, you know, like this potential, has a strong need to get to know herself, and also carries out the self-knowledge, for example, through therapy, meditation. So you can express this also through therapy, and meaning that you can be the therapist, or you can also try to connect to this energy of how can I get to know myself through being in therapy as well yourself. Accept fate in a positive and practical manner. And that can speak also about the miscarriage, that it's something that you couldn't have done any better. You couldn't have eaten more, moved less. It just happened. And maybe that happened for a reason, for you to see how you can connect to the inner child within yourself as well, how you can trust your body, that your body can carry and birth a child, you know, the light. So yeah, see how you go with this. I'm just, you know, throwing it out there. It has a lot of strength, yet this strength is manifested in tenderness, warmth, empathy, and the ability to give and receive. And the personality aspects that could be worked on, so that might be a little shadow, is very insecure, feels unloved, develops one symptom after another, because as a child, she received care only when illness was present, has kept this pattern up. So see if with this wounded Chiron, Moon, North Node, see how your inner child feels. If you embrace that side of yourself, maybe there was a pattern that actually did happen to you. Maybe only when you were needy, only when you were sick, you got attention. And maybe now your body is doing the same. It feels like it can't just fully express itself, because the pattern is that only in unhappiness or only in sickness you get the support that you need. So maybe there is some truth in that. On spiritual level, this King of Wands, or that bottle that you can also use to heal some of that, encourages spiritual strength and energy as well as harmony, and opens the door to unconditional love, promotes self-understanding on mental level, and allows the user to lose her false self-image and any illusions about herself. On emotional level, aids in overcoming feelings of frustration and futility when love is unrequited, also helps to free any blockages impeding the flow of communication, which is about this creative communication. Maybe you have issues with expressing the pain, or maybe you have issues with expressing the happiness through creativity of some form, through artwork or through writing. you can do it. And once you open up, it will flow, because you talented in that. You have that side which is just like ready to blossom. It also is useful, this bottle, if you feel guilty, if you feel guilt about something, about the miscarriage. Often we have that guilt feeling, even though it's nothing to do with us. Useful in releasing guilt feelings and insecurity. It renews the love for oneself, and as if it has been lost through separation, divorce, or death. Physical level brings relief from allergies, balances the gland functions, particularly during puberty and menopause. You can apply this around your entire lower abdomen, or around the whole heart area in difficult situations emotionally. And affirmation is, I am in harmony with life, and life is in harmony with me. So that's something that I wanted to share with you, and I think this is maybe something that you can also use. Sometimes we feel better when we actually use something, and this works on energetic level as well as on the physical. So maybe you could try. I'm taking some of these bottles myself, and I think it really works. And especially when I look at your chart, I think you will be also very in tune with energetic and vibrational medicine, like sound medicine or flower essences and stuff like this, because you have sensitivity to it. So see if you can do it. So I hope that made sense, and it wasn't too much repetition. And relationship wise also, I wanted to just look at your Venus. You do really need, as I said, a lot of freedom and independence in relationships, but you also need to have quite a deep sense of honesty and security. And your Venus is in Scorpio. It likes deep connection. It's like, give me your soul kind of type of thing. So in some way, you yourself might feel a little bit sometimes, you might need a lot of intense, you might need an intense connection, but that gives you freedom to be intense. And you can be intense and then free. So someone whom you can trust, someone who trusts you, who doesn't really limit you, and who you don't have to constantly, cling on to or follow, that you can be independent and very equal relationship. You will need that. But also that intimate and, like safe in a way emotionally. You will be loving that kind of a little bit of a challenge, but in the sense of like, I can be challenged by my relationship, not necessarily outside of it. So let's move to tarot reading and see what it shows for you right now.
Hi Aline, so this particular reading, I already pulled the card, and I use a spread that I always use for this particular reading, and it goes from like, do this to align with your life purpose, source of support on your path, your overall mission on earth, and talent to develop right now and something to leave behind. But what's interesting in this, I want you to make sure that you see it from perspective of the now. So for example, your overall mission on earth can be, to be yourself, and this aspect that shows up right now is something that maybe you might want to pay attention to, especially in this particular moment in time. So do this to align with your life purpose right now. Oh my God, when I saw this card, I was just so excited to see it. So this is 9 of Cups, and you can see here a woman raising her head with a cup and the angels filling her cup. 9 of Cups, it's a card of a wish. It's a card of hope, of healing. It's a card of emotional satisfaction. In this particular deck, I also see it always as a card of a psychic or a card of an intuition and a need or an encouragement from the cards for you to relax, to take it easy, to open up to divine intervention in some way. Often it's a card of pregnancy as well. I really have a sense after pulling all these cards that Mother Mary is very strongly involved in here in this particular reading. And I know that I'm a little bit of Mary biased right now because I'm so, kind of surrounding myself with her energy, but the cards that showed up really kind of show a blessing from the mother. So maybe connect also if you feel any resonance with Mother Mary, and tell her the worries, tell her about the miscarriage. But I could see in these cards even like a blessing for the new pregnancy. So don't give up your hope. And I think right now is important for you to relax, to really take care of yourself. Cups is an emotional card, so really open up emotionally as well, express yourself. And it seems like you have hordes of angels around you really supporting you right now. And I think to realign with your life purpose, it's really important for you to, as I said in your astrology reading, to listen to the signs, to surround yourself, to open up intuitively, because you have this amazing intuition and you have this amazing ability to tune in. Not only collective kind of wishes, but also tune into the divine. Aquarius people have this kind of priestessy vibe. So open up to be filled with that loving kindness, and have gratitude for what you still have and what you still can have. And the more you fill your cup, the more you will be able to fill other cups. So a beautiful card of spiritual connection as well, and opening up to just divine grace, I guess. And asking, because often the angels, the beings that are there to help us, if it's true, I don't know, but I know for sure that if we don't ask, they won't be able to give us the help. So really opening up to this divine influx and putting it down into your body, and really finding, I think, ease and happiness in who you are, in your emotions, connecting to this. So source of support on your path. And it's Two of Swords, right? It's a very interesting card, I think, because usually we kind of find it quite maybe not negative, but it's kind of like a stalemate, right? And this is a source of support on your path right now. And I think it's for you to really cut yourself off too much influence from outside. It is like as if you need like an angelic retreat, like maybe go on a retreat when you get pumped up a little bit, or just when you have time to just lie down and smell the roses. It's very much connected to this Chiron energy as well, I think, when you take your body, and because it's of the 12th house, when I was saying that you need those times out to really figure out what's yours, what's not yours, So this Two of Swords, it supports you right now when you kind of cut out too much activity, too much influence from outside, when you kind of really, it's like the sensory deprivation chamber. That's how this card looks to me. I'm curious how Lisa describes it here, but Two of Swords says, blindfolded woman looks within in order to make a decision whether she will continue to protect herself or put down her swords and open herself to something new. A choice needs to be made. Look within to find the answers. But that's exactly what I guess in this position, this card is source of support. So we want to find a positive side of Two of Swords. And in this particular case, it's really taking time out and protecting yourself a little bit, giving yourself space not to see certain things, maybe not to see certain people, really just like sit down and shut up and take time to heal, because then you can open up to this divine grace that it's just waiting there to pour into your cup. So for the overall mission on Earth, what I pulled for you, it's Four of Swords. So it's interesting that to me, this person also, maybe she doesn't look very pregnant, but she like holds these hands here around the belly. It's the swords are, kind of going inward again, and a sword represents thoughts. So I think for you right now to really be in tune and connect to your mission, it's to, you can be probably, even a meditation teacher, or really learning how to mindfully find your center. And this is connection to your divinity. This is connection, the blueness. It's like this beautiful, throat chakra, but also I feel now the heart chakra opening. And to do that, you allow this energy to flow through you. There is this beautiful kind of sense of the energy going around you and flowing through you. And I think your overall mission on earth really has to do with spiritual side and finding strength and your center, even when things are not perfect outside. And I think your Four of Swords is also a great time to meditate. So I think this, whatever I always say, spiritual kind of understanding of life and the spiritual dimension to life, it's part of your life purpose. So this is about also working on your aura. It can be about protecting yourself or cutting yourself off too many influences because of this, you awakening your heart to the divine grace to flow through. So you need to quieten down a little bit, take time out. It can be taking a rest from a busy mind. So also when you have some crazy thoughts going on, this is also a call for mindful, a presence, and for practicing meditation. So any sorts of spiritual practice and finding your peace is part of your life purpose. And this is a talent to develop, and this is yet another sword card. So it's interesting how we go from this beautiful, do this, to align with your life path. It's such a different energy to all the swords because they're so much more controlled and so much more kind of sharp. And I think to connect to your life path a little bit more, even though the mission is in general kind of like, floating and being at peace within yourself, finding your own center. This is opening to divine grace. And I think right now emotionally you need to open up, relax, enjoy, really start having awakening the hope and healing that your wishes will come true. And the Seven of Swords, which is an interesting card as well, because usually, in traditional, this is a talent to develop. So we can see this Hayoki kind of tricks there, black and white, walking through the desert and trying to balance those swords in some crazy way. So either the talent to develop right now is to balance and not to be, focused on black and white thinking, but trying to balance those nuances of your life. Also, it's about focused concentration, because that is going to be needed, that concentration, then that's going inward and really feeling how you can open up to shift of perspective. Because that concentration is going to be needed to complete your plans, and to finish off. And what's actually is good to leave behind is the last card I pulled. And this is 10 of Wands. And it seems to me that there is some form of completion. You actually are finishing something. And you really need to take this time, even like a mental break, and focus on how you can find more balance within and how you can relax a little bit more, because you have been carrying a lot of, like 10 of Wands is always about carrying too much on your shoulders. So here on this particular card, which is Lisa's the San Croix Tarot, it says the spiritual pilgrim inspired by the 16th century alchemical engraving carries a bundle of wands on his back, representing many religions. In his hand, which reaches into a new dimension, he holds a living branch. So the meaning of this card in the booklet says, if you feel overwhelmed by the heavy load of spiritual ideology, return to a simple belief in the goodness of nature. So I think you might be either too, there might be a lot of dead kind of energy that you keep carrying through. There might be grief, that might be, loss, but you have a living branch also. So you will have to let something go, but there is something living, and I also see this as something living that it's awakening with you. The card that I pulled for this particular card, that you should stop. So, stop carrying the dead weight and open up to new possibilities, because you completed a cycle. It's stop, drop, and bliss, which goes really well with all of these cards as well. So the stop, drop, and bliss, it's to pay attention to your relationships. This is Gebo rune. You can read up on Gebo rune, or if you're interested in runes, take a look at Gebo. But also at, paying attention to your relationships, taking time out to connect to your partner, being able to find happiness in small things, And all the cards that I pulled here, one is humility. And it's interesting how, this particular card speaks about acceptance, that you don't know everything. And then there is room to learn, and room to grow, and room to let others bring their strengths into your life. So maybe right now also finding this peace within yourself, so that you can open up for others and the spirit, shining down on you. I really have a strong sense, and I don't like to say, you're going to fall pregnant, Aline, but in the cards there's a strong indication that it is possible. So not to lose faith, and just open up to the grace, maybe ask for help, your divine guides as well. The essential oil that I pulled for you is patchouli. And again, this reminds me a little bit of Mary as well. I know it's not Mary, but it just reminded me of her with her blessing, and it's about presence and physical expression. And that goes really well with whatever I was saying about your chart, of bringing that spirituality, all this mental energy, the peace of mind, but bringing it through the body right now. And patchouli, as in the little booklet here, it speaks, the wise words are, you are imperfect, permanently and inevitable flawed, and you are beautiful. Patchouli is known as a very esoteric essence, as it brings love, peace, and wisdom to the world. With gentleness and love, patchouli repels negative vibes that might be lingering. Patchouli eases apprehension with negative patterns related to the physical body, so that comes back. Like with the Chiron, it's a very grounding essence, and it grounds you with love and ease. It teaches balance, that everything is best in moderation. When the patchouli personality is out of balance, the individual can come across as aloof, disconnected to the physical body, and with low self-esteem. This is why patchouli seems to aid with anxiety and depression, and as well as sexual fears and confidence. Patchouli reminds you that not every day is the best day, but tomorrow will be better. Patchouli essence is calming, recovering, and stabilizing. When in negative, patchouli can be self-destroying, judgmental towards the self, and disconnected from others. Patchouli helps to control the ego by bringing true empathy. It removes the masks of niceness and encourages respect to the self and others from deep within. If patchouli comes to you in the reading, it's because you are running a bit low on energy and motivation. You have lost faith in yourself and others for a moment. Have some rest and take time to do something that makes you happy. Like reading a good book, having a bath, or eating a square of chocolate. It's time to love you. I am one with the earth. I am one with my body. So patchouli essence might be good for you right now to, spray around the room, or if you use essential oils on the body, to smell it or use it on your body as little perfume. It seems like it came up it's supportive for you. And from Illuminated Earth Oracle, I put a card about connection. And I think maybe it also is like, you know, this reflection of what's still underneath you. So what you show outside and what really needs to be felt as well. It's this like reflection of the mountain in the water, but also it could be what else is under the visible surface, you know. And the connection card also speaks about well, let me just see what else is here. If there is any connection card, also speaks about that this is a satisfying feeling in connecting with another being. So, you know, if it's the partnership, friendship, collaboration within a community, find places of intersection among like-minded souls and meet them with authenticity. Notice how they mirror your passions. So that's interesting with this mirroring quality. Also, what you mirror outside and how do you mirror, you know, how do you connect to the depths of your emotions as well. And there's much more underneath that meets the eye. And the Lavish Earth Oracle, the crystal to work with, Galena, came up. It reminds me a little bit of fluoride, you know, how it forms these crystals like this. But it speaks about righteous living, character and excellence. And it says, you know, that Galena, you amaze me. Now watch me reach your heights. Whatever task is before me, let me amaze myself and others by reaching high and getting there, never losing sight of my core of character and what I know to be righteous true living. Shiny, outrageous Galena is here to remind us to live in accord with divine law. That's also this. And allow excellence and light to shine forth in every task and interaction. Galena crystallizes in the cubic crystal system, often showing stunning, shiny octahedral forms. So you can look into sacred geometry of octahedron as well. But yeah, Galena is a crystal maybe you might want to resonate with. And now what I wanted to show you is these cards I pulled. So I pulled from the Work Your Light Oracle, this beautiful Star Mother, which says, you know, ask you a question. How can you mother yourself? And that really can help you to fall pregnant as well, because as soon as you don't know how to mother your body, how to trust your body, how to relax and open up to the grace of, you know, this fertile grace, it might be hard for you to, you know, step into it. But this, how can you mother yourself? And right now I think the mothering really takes place from like taking yourself out a little bit and finding that inner peace and focus on how to find the balance in your life. And some decisions will be probably have to be made, and they mostly connected to your thoughts and thinking and this intellectualizing, which I was saying. But what really the cards show you to do is to release some old stuff, some ideologies that you were carrying on for too much, and you're still carrying that living branch. So just open up, even though it might be hard for you right now, maybe to awaken this type. But maybe take a look at this card. It's so dynamic. It's so inviting to just lie down and stay open to your true wishes. And then the goddess that I pulled for you from one oracle is Shekinah. So also, you know, that kind of blueness that comes up. Like this is the overall mission on earth. Like you are the goddess, you know, you're finding your center. And from this peaceful center, you can meditate, you can teach, you can fall pregnant, you can do things. The blue comes up a lot. So the throat chakra, the third eye. And this is Shekinah. So she speaks about ancestral connection as well. Maybe doing some of the ancestral healing, especially with this Pluto and Saturn going through your 8th house. There might be some clearing. That might be even, you know, the miscarriage sometimes might be like this karmic contracts being resolved. Maybe your baby, that was the contract that you had. And Shekinah says, I am the Sabbath bride. I am indwelling feminine face of God. Enter my mystery and rejoice in the sweetness of shared bread and wine. Holy, 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 shalom. It's this kind of sweetness of wine. Ritual. So do some form of ritual take time out to do ritual to introduce a bit more balance. This ritual is like celebrate your ancestral path and remember the traditions. So whatever, it's interesting because, whatever, if you carry too much tradition that you don't connect with, drop it, because you have a living branch. But you can use also some traditions that you are connected to, that you feel they are still alive, and use them to help yourself reconnect with the spiritual more. And the last card that I want, this one more, is also I am flowering. So another, to me, Mary connotation, this beautiful red rose. And this is Chloris. The challenge here is adversity. So, miscarriage, what we would say, it's definitely an adversity. And the gift is transmutation. What can you do with it? How can you still open up and find that softness within yourself? Find the peace of mind and not go into black and white thinking, judging yourself harshly, but taking time out like this deprivatory system. And how can you mother yourself, So joy and pride of plants and the garden's glory, beauty's blush it brings to the cheek of meadows, draining fire and dew from the dawn for rarest color and odor. That's Sappho. And Chloris was the Greek goddess and the beauty of flowers. So also connecting to the flowers, connecting to the beauty, connecting to something that makes you feel happy, and taking care of yourself like this. That's important for you. So Chloris called out, this is a story about Chloris, but this is a tale of the changing of the state of being, and talks to us of the experience of leaving difficult and painful times behind us. A beautiful flowering always accompanies the act of changing and moving on to a new life. So yet again, leave behind, 10 of Wands, right? Carrying too much, release some stuff, emotional stuff, take time out so that you can find that inner peace, because you still have a living branch within you and you're reaching into the new chapter. Chloris also speaks about transmutation of adversity, physical expression and presence, and really going, through, knowing that you can't know everything, and really finding through ritual, maybe allowing yourself to, finish off the cycle. Because then I pulled Mary card for you. I asked specifically for the advice about the baby, and you got 10 of Vessels, which is this amazing Mary with a baby. And this is Anna with Mary, but also Mary with Jesus. And it's a blessing. I think Mother Mary wants to give you a blessing and let you know that you still have a big chance of falling pregnant, having a baby. So just really do some work on your body and on the way how you can trust your body, how you can peacefully now transmute that adversity of losing a baby and grounding your presence, mothering yourself, so that you can really give another baby a chance. So I hope this is helpful, Aline, because that's what came up, and all these Mary's cards, it's just this big influx of this amazing mother energy for you right now. So mother yourself, stay open to divine grace, ask for help, pray for the baby. And when it comes to the life purpose itself, I think right now you really need to take time out a little bit. So I'm going to just play a few more chimes for you, and I have used my skulls today to also bring some emotional healing and like energetic maybe cleansing and support for you for this particular moment in time. And I think mentally you really are encouraged by the cards to take a little time out and allow yourself maybe not to think about too much right now. And you do need a break, and to really relax and open up and nourish yourself, because you might need a little bit more focus soon, to make some decisions. But right now I think, take care to nurture yourself, maybe do some ritual when you can get rid of anything that is a dead wood that you carry, and stop, drop, and please. This is the advice for right now, which is important. And all these beautiful blue ladies in the veils, and that gorgeous Mary card as a blessing. I think, yeah, I was very kind of surprised to see it, but also, kind of really excited to see it. And I'm just going to show you what it says here in the book. It says Anna, keeper of the hearth. And this is Anna with Mary on her lap, the same as Mary sits with Jesus on her lap. So here we have the feminine version of the mother and holy child, holy mother and holy daughter. Maybe you give birth to a daughter, but also maybe it suggests to do some work with your mom and how you mother yourself, how you this kind of open up to this divine grace. And it just says that it speaks of idyllic happiness and moments to be treasured and honored. You are reminded to honor and value the feminine qualities of nurturing, empathy, and creating supportive surroundings for yourself and others. It also speaks of alchemical transformation and positive outcomes. As a spiritual initiate and student of the mysteries, you will be basking in the blissful glow of fulfillment of being. So I think you are going through some form of beautiful initiation right now. I hope it's helpful, Aline. I know it kind of it just went this certain way, but that's how it went. That's all I can say. And I hope it's food for thought, and that these pictures also you find quite inspiring, like me, and that they bring a lot of hope and, make you believe that it's still possible to change the outcomes, or still possible to, really find this amazing fulfillment in your life. But right now, taking this time out a little bit, like quieting down, cutting yourself off too much from outside, and really finding that inner peace, maybe through ritual, maybe through, mothering yourself, asking for help, prayer, spending time maybe with your mother or with women that support you, so that you can feel like you can flower again, because you have so many talents. So thank you so much for your trust, and I hope it was helpful, and much love to you. Bye.